I live? Am I live? Welcome to All Things Woman, where we discuss femininity, womanhood, and I give you overall life advice. If any of that interests you, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so that you're aware when I post a brand new video. Jealous people only serve one purpose in your life. Jealous people only serve absolutely one purpose in your life. That is what we are going to be discussing today. Welcome to the channel. Here at All Things Woman, we discuss femininity, womanhood, and I give you overall life advice. So if any of that interests you, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We also have books, How to Be a Feminine Woman, The Blueprint. That is in the description box. Get that book. It's a short read, 8 chapters that's going to help you to start your femininity journey, help you to get more connected to your femininity, and help you to thrive in your feminine softness. So if you have not gotten that book, get that book, How to Be a Feminine Woman, The Blueprint. Also, How to Detox from Toxic People. That is a quick read as well. Get that book. It's all in the description link. And my latest book for women, oh my goodness, Girl on Girl Wars, Jealousy Amongst Women. That book is out now on Amazon, so get that book. It's also a quick read. A lot of the books I create are not meant to be read. It doesn't take you weeks to read it. It's power-packed and very short reads, so get that book. All 3 of them are found on the Amazon store. Just going to wait for a few more people to come in before I get into it. We are ending January, and the topic for this month has been jealousy, envy. Actually, for the past few months, I've been talking about jealousy, envy, dealing with bullies, dealing with people who seek to manipulate you, dealing with people who just try to get you out of your feminine character and try to get you to second guess and doubt yourself. All of that ties into being a confident woman. All of that ties in to just keeping your focus where it needs to be as a woman. Give me one moment. I'm on my computer and not my iPad, and I am not liking the angle like that. My goodness, I feel like I'm lower, but you know what? We're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. I hope everybody is enjoying the content. There are a lot of people, out of all of the people I have on this channel, I can literally say that I have never seen a more positive comment section as what I see on my channel. Out of all the hundreds of comments, and I try my best to read through your comments, but out of all the hundreds of comments that I get, I only get like a handful of negative comments. So that is really wonderful. That just goes to show that I'm reaching my target audience and that women are identifying with the things that I'm talking about as far as jealousy and envy and dealing with, bullies and, people who seek to manipulate you. I even have some men come on the channel and tell me, I know this is for women, but, it relates to me too, because men, they act the same exact way. So I am just very happy that, good morning. I love your content. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, Vivi. I appreciate you. And thank you for being here. So let's get into it. Jealous people only serve one purpose in your life. Jealous people who are haters. They're envious of you. They seek to manipulate you. They want to get you to second guess and doubt yourself. Those people actually serve a purpose in your life. I remember looking at a comedy skit. I think it was like Cat Williams or something. And he said, if you don't have haters, what are you doing? It was something like that. He was like, if you don't have haters, what are you doing? And it was meant to be funny. But the point that he was making is that anytime you're doing anything that's worth anything, you're going to have haters. You're going to have jealous people. And you don't have to do anything to provoke those people to be jealous of you. You could simply be yourself. And you don't, contrary to what a lot of shallow people think, you don't have to be a beauty queen in order to have women who are jealous of you. It cuts a lot deeper than just how you look as a woman. And people love to say the beauty standard. I don't fit this beauty standard or according to the beauty standard. Well, Beauty is subjective, number one. Number two, a lot of times when you hear people, especially in different cultures, when they say the beauty standard, they're speaking in reference to the European beauty standard. And that's where a lot of people miss it. Good morning, Diana. A lot of people miss it because they're only talking about one standard of beauty. Beauty is subjective, but it gets deeper than just that. It's deeper than how you look, how you are, how you carry yourself as a woman. That can also attract people who will not like you. They're not going to care for you. They're not going to be so apt to help you. And I know a lot of times I talk about these things, and it seems like, I have a lot of people, my spiritual people hop on here and say, but God, God is powerful. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. We are not meant to worry about what haters think or feel about us. It's not a matter of worry. I hear you loud and clear. And trust me, I'm spirit filled, spirit led. So I do not worry about those things, and I don't allow those things to affect me. And I haven't over the years. And that's why I am telling you all about those things so that you are equipped to deal with them also. See, what has happened, a lot of women were never told that just because you're kind and sweet and you're trying your best to do all the right things, they still might not like you. And see, things like that you would think would be like a given, like, well, duh, everybody should know that. A lot of women were never taught that. A lot of women were raised in toxic environments, toxic households, where they were led to believe that, oh, that's just your cousin. She just messing with you. They would say some of the most disrespectful, belittling, nasty things to you. Meanwhile, you're feeling really confident. You're beautiful. You feel confident about yourself, but all it took was for you to come around auntie and them or your cousin and them or somebody, and they would always have a negative remark to say to you, something about how you look, something about how you talk, something about your weight, and over the years, because your auntie and mom and them and all that, they told you, well, that's just how they are. Don't worry about that. That's just how they are. A lot of women were programmed to believe that toxic behavior, haters, jealousy, and envy, as if that's something normal that you should deal with, as if that's something you should accept. I actually know of somebody, their cousins call them ugly. Like they use that word. That's their nickname for the person, ugly. What is that? And they just accepted it as normal and let them call them that. Like, say what? So you allowed them, because you have been programmed to believe that that's just your cousin name. That's a little pet name. That's what they call you. Ugly? No. That's not my name. Don't refer to me as that. And any parent, any mother, any involved person or adult that see a child saying something like that, because that is derogatory to say that to another human being, period, but especially a kid, you don't get a child programmed and comfortable with somebody belittling them and demeaning them in that way. But because so many women have been subjected to that since their childhood, when they grow up and become an adult, they don't understand that I'm being affected by this. A lot of women, their mental health is suffering now, all because of the things they were brought up with, all because of the mentality and the kind of toxic behavior they were conditioned and programmed to believe was normal, i.e., being hate and jealousy and envy from those that are close to you oftentimes. If you were never told that you're beautiful, if you were never told that you're just as good as anybody else and don't let them speak to you that way, you will grow up to be a woman who might be a little naive and not understand why somebody's mistreating you, why somebody is talking to you the way they're talking to you. What did I do to deserve that? You'll make it all about what you're doing, instead of realizing, no, they're just toxic. They're just being negative. They're a hater for some reason. People who are jealous and envious, they often see things in you that you don't even see about yourself. See, that's the one reason that haters and jealous people and envious people, they serve an amazing purpose in your life, because they show you who you are. They show you the wonderful things about yourself. You might not think you're much to look at, but to a hater, they see your beauty. They see how you radiate, and they show it by their disgust for how other people like you, for how you're so laid back and easygoing. for how you don't seem to be easily triggered by nonsense. You're not the pop off queen. You know how to let things go. And sometimes letting things go, that's kind of your downfall. But when you're an unbothered woman in general, where you don't get riled up about every little thing, haters will dislike that. They will dislike a woman, especially if the person who is the hater is more of a woman who doesn't know how to just exist in her feminine softness, and she's used to being more aggressive in order to grab the attention of people. But you and your feminine softness, or just your kindness and your lighthearted spirit, you're able to have the attention of other people without bombarding yourself or forcing yourself on them. A lot of women will not like that. A lot of jealous people, period, men and women alike, they're not going to like that. But if you've never been taught that some people will just come at you just because, and if you're never taught that you're worthy of respect, because that's also what it comes down to, understanding that as a woman, as a young girl, as a teenager, you're still worthy of respect. And when you have been taught to be overly respectful, and I can say with my mother being from the South, my mother was from North Carolina. And, it was that yes, ma'am, no, sir, excuse me, pleases, thank yous, all positive things. But when you're growing up in a culture that's kind of more savage like, especially as time has gone on and women have gotten more hard, gotten more aggressive, being taught, to be technically a debutante, you're being taught all the Southern charm. And then you get around women, get around people who will take advantage of that kind-hearted nature. There has to be a balance. Let me read your comments. I resonate with your content because I feel like I have been through it all. A lot of women have, Miss Abundance 74. Beverly Reed, God bless and keep you, my sister. You are doing. Thank you, Miss Beverly. I appreciate you. I'm watching you this morning from beautiful Dallas, Texas. Miss Wilson, I was just telling my husband, I want to go to Texas. I don't know. I want to go to Dallas. And I don't know if it's because I've been watching so many documentaries about Texas, but I literally feel like I want to come to Dallas. I saw like y'all have some cute shops down there, very hallmarky looking. So I really want to get to Dallas. So good morning, Nancy. And I'm glad that you're enjoying the content. Yeah, a lot of women identify with this. And, I read the handful of comments that I get are a little bit on the negative side, and they're not even all the way on the negative side. That just show you the spirit of confusion that's lurking with a lot of people who are jealous and envious and just accustomed to toxic behavior. One person said, your content, yeah, it makes sense, but you seem a little bit negative. And I'm like, since when is bringing awareness to something that so many people deal with seeing as negative? And then it dawned on me, they think it's negative because people are accustomed to sweeping those uncomfortable things under the rug. They rather just let their mental health suffer. They rather just inflict their misery and toxicity and jealousy and envy onto other people instead of recognizing things for what it is. It's willful ignorance. Yeah, a lot of people are very comfortable being ignorant, being uneducated to different things. And if you're comfortable with that, it's because a lot of times, in my opinion, it was more of a learned behavior. You don't want to stir up any drama. You don't want any conflict. That's your auntie, that's your cousin. You've been knowing them for years. And for years, they've been a snake. But it took for me to mature and realize that I was exposing myself to somebody that was disrupting my peace. And when you're not taught that your peace, your well-being is just as valuable as anybody else's, and you're always sacrificing your well-being to make other people feel comfortable, you will take issue with somebody calling out jealous, toxic behavior because you see it as that's just human nature. That's just how people are. No, human nature is not to be, Lord, I can't even think of a good word to say, but it's not to be a donkey. Is not to be a donkey. You have a choice. And a lot of people, especially when it comes to woman interactions, a lot of women, they don't know how to treat each other and build lasting relationships with other women because they always look at them as their competition. They always look at them as if they're always in some kind of battle or some kind of challenge. A lot of things can be in your head, but a lot of things are very much real. I know sometimes as women, if you have your own perceived, you have your own insecurities, you might come around somebody and automatically think they're coming at you. They don't like you and this and that. But sometimes there are women who are trying to make you feel less than, who are trying to make you feel uncomfortable with how they treat you. They think they can try you because you are a more feminine woman, because you're not, you're more a peaceful, unbothered kind of woman. And because of that, you have some women, because they're so miserable in nature, because they're so accustomed to having to fight for everything they get, including the attention of other people, they will not like you. Let me look at some of the comments. When I stood up to my landlord yesterday, he had the nerve to call me a troublemaker. And it's always the women who let things slide, and a lot of times, the women who are more reserved, not saying you have to be an introvert, but the women who, good morning, Gloria, how are you? Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're here and you're loving the content. I appreciate you. Yeah, the women who tend to let things go, because we're not so easily triggered. When we eventually do speak up, and this is another thing that you're going to have to teach yourself and unlearn, that speaking up for yourself, not allowing someone to disrespect you, not allowing someone to just push your feelings aside as if they don't matter. That is not you being disrespectful. That is not you being a villain. That is not you not being feminine. And I think, once again, when you are taught that over respect, that over comfortability, where you're trying to just make other people feel comfortable and you're afraid of confrontation, you will allow yourself to suffer because you want them to be okay with you. And that's where that feminine queen energy comes in, where you begin to realize that I'm just as valuable as anybody else. I'm not going to let you disrespect me. And you don't have to address situations like men. You don't have to, say it with your chest kind of thing. But you do have to be assertive as a woman, because otherwise, a lot of these women, especially women, a lot of people might not like this, but a lot of women who are more manly, more masculine, they're normally the loudest ones in the room. The one who feel like they can intimidate with their stares and their threatening looks and how they talk and how they try to get in other people's ears. If you are not assertive around those kind of women, you will continue to feel uncomfortable. You will continue to feel like it's something about you. And me personally, Grand Rising, yes, come welcome, woman of many seasons. I like that. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you. Yeah, we just can't allow ourselves to, that little girl on the inside of you, that is good when you are tapping into your femininity, when you are conducting your feminine hobbies, when you are just floating throughout your life. But when you're in the midst of people who display disrespect, jealousy, and envy towards you, you have to recognize that spirit when you see it. You have to recognize that negativity so that you're not taken aback when they come at you, And thankfully, in my experience, once you cross the 30 mark, the age 30 mark, it doesn't seem to be as aggressive. It depends on the environment that you put yourself in. You have a lot more choice, as you get into your 30s and everything. But I can tell you, the proving ground is really when you're in your late teens and your 20s. That's when you feel like, I just have to prove myself and show these people, show these women who I am. And the beautiful thing about leaning into your femininity is that you no longer feel like you need to show and prove to people who you are, man and woman alike. And dealing with jealous men, jealous men, they serve a great purpose in your life too, because jealous men remind you that you have a standard and an expectation as a feminine woman. Any man, let me sip my tea for a moment because I believe I'm about to go a little bit deep. Let me sip my tea. This is not the cute girly mug that I would normally sip out of, because this is the only big mug I have and I needed a lot of tea this morning. Trying to lay off of the coffee because it dries your skin out and it dries your throat out too. And I love coffee, but I'm not going to stay on the coffee. AB, I find that I have to be serious and not open up too much, hide some parts of my personality, some females who are controlling. And AB, that part, feeling like you can't be yourself. If you, good morning, free reign, welcome to the channel. I absolutely appreciate you. AB, if you feel like you have to hold parts of yourself back in the midst of certain women, those are not the people you need to be around. And I understand that, sometimes the women you're around, it might be your coworkers. And, if you're working for a living, you might not be able to just get away from them, like that. But you definitely want to limit your interaction. Any people that you're around where you feel like you have to hold yourself back. Now, I'm not saying if you are doing too much, as confident women, as self-aware women, we know sometimes if you're doing too much, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I mean, if you feel yourself being more masculine in the presence of women, where you have that armor on all of a sudden, where you feel like, okay, I got to be ready to go at any moment, those are not the kind of women you need to be around. Okay. If you feel like you're in attack mode, like you have to defend yourself, those are the type of women, type of people you should not be around in the first place. Limit your interaction. And I thank God for a feminine intuition. Working days are over. Miss Nancy, I can't wait. My working days are about to be over too. I can't wait. But yes, the workplace, that is actually where you experience most of that masculinity from women, and when you feel, back to what you were saying, AB, if you feel like you have to actually have your guard up around people, like you can't just be light, you have to be a little bit stoic. Those are the kind of people you don't need to be around. And I have experienced that on multiple occasions. I feel like this is my tribe here. This is my group, so I can say it. I wake up sometimes and I feel just so free flowy. I feel happy. I'm like, God, not saying that I don't wake up happy any other day, but there are some days, when you just feel like, whoo, like I just feel light. I feel like, today's going to be a great day. I'm dropping the kids off at school. I'm going to get me something to eat, stop and get my coffee, come home, relax. It's going to be a good day, whatever your day looks like. And then you come into the presence of somebody, excuse me one moment, got to check that. You come into the presence of certain people and suddenly all of your lightness has disappeared. All of a sudden you feel uneasy, like you feel a shift, like, oh, why do I feel so heavy? It's like that heaviness just comes over you. And now you go from being light, like, oh, I'm about to go to Hobby Lobby, I'm gonna go see what they got at Michael's, to, how you doing? It just feels like the energy just shifted. If you know what I mean, like just hit the like button or send a heart if you know exactly what I'm talking about, when that energy just shifts in yourself when you get around certain people. If you're constantly around people that makes you feel heavy, those are not the kind of people you need to be around. Now, I'm not saying if something happens, if something happens, good morning, I'm happy to catch you live. Welcome, Gina Queen Diva. I love that. Gina Queen Diva. Welcome to the channel. Diana, I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I don't want to mess it up, but you have a heart on the end. Welcome. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you. But when you get around people who make you feel heavy, make you feel tensed up, and I have a way of understanding that, somebody's going to rebut this. Like, nobody can make you feel anything. Nobody can make you feel anything. But when you're in the presence of toxic, negative energy, you're human. All of us cannot withstand so much negativity at one time. God didn't create us, and this is just my little spirituality for a moment. God didn't create us to deal with so much heaviness all at once. And if you're around people who are heavy, toxic, always putting issues on you, always trying to stir up problems with you, always have something wrong, and not saying people go through stuff, but I mean, you know what I mean, where it's just like, and it's always seems to be when you're feeling the best is when they want to dump the most negative things on you. A lot of jealous people, a lot of envious people, especially when it's somebody who happens to be close to you or a relative or somebody, they can sense when you are the happiest, because that's when they want to start with their nonsense. That's when they want to start with the little triggering language. That's when they want to try to get under your skin. Jealous, envious people, they have a way of like sensing happiness, sensing joy, sensing lightness, and they just want to say or do something. And for me, when you understand and recognize that spirit, you can recognize it for what it is and say, you know what? I was happy before I came here, and I'm going to be happy when I leave. Whatever they're going through has nothing to do with me. Okay? Okay. Yeah, if you have to mask your silver lining things, you have to mask your happiness. Absolutely. We don't do that. We do not mask our happiness in order to make miserable people feel comfortable. No, we empathize with the people who are truly going through something. People who are truly going through something, they're not toxic or anything. But people who see your happiness and now they're in a mood, men are good for that. And even when the man is not so-called jealous or envious, sometimes men, they just be in their little way and they see a lot of happiness. And that's when they choose to be upset. I don't understand sometimes. But men who are jealous and envious, if they see you being, and this is a little bit of a sidebar into femininity and how a feminine woman will not be the ideal for a man who is also feminine. When he sees you being a little bit too lighthearted, a little too much in your girly girl, a little too much where, you expect him to kind of be a man, he is going to be triggered by your happiness. Yes, feminine, jealous males, I can't even call them men. No disrespect to men because we love men, but masculine men do not behave in a jealous way toward women. They don't get irritated or triggered by a woman being in her feminine softness. But a man who is jealous and envious, a man who's a little bit on the feminine side, he wants you to be that rah, ratchet ghetto girl. That's the way it came to my mind. So I just had to say it that way. And when you have any hint of femininity, of softness, of not wanting to be bothered, a man who is jealous and toxic in general, he will absolutely be upset with you because you didn't do something ratchet he wanted you to do, because you didn't come out of character and defend him against women. That's that. And see, if you're past the age of 30, you shouldn't even be dealing with men who want you to be the pop-off queen, who need you to fight their battles and things like that. And the moment you're not going to do something like that, you're bougie. Oh, so what? You couldn't ride or die and all this stuff. Well, if you constantly putting a woman in a situation where she feels like she fitting to die, excuse me for the Southern vernacular, but I had to say fitting because that's just the way it came to me. My goodness, it's like, who wants to deal with a man like that? Like, who wants to deal with somebody who's always putting them in a situation where they have to be in the masculine energy? Like, a man is supposed to be, God is the protector. But if you're with your man, your fiance, your husband, he's supposed to keep you in that feminine safe space. I never recall a time where I had to get into an altercation with a woman about my husband, like where he put me in that situation. Like, I don't recall that. But men who are like that might not be jealousy and envy. That's just toxic feminine behavior from men, which is also equally, unpleasant to deal with as a woman, and it will definitely put you back in the masculine energy. That was just a little sidebar into femininity, but let me look at some of these comments, especially when he's used to his mother being masculine. Yes, when men are used to being around women who are more of the masculine, do what I say, flip over, they just, taking charge and everything, then they're going to not be at ease with a woman who is more in her femininity. And being in your femininity doesn't mean that you don't have personality. It doesn't mean that you are a prude. It doesn't mean that you can't be, sexy and beautiful and all of that. It just means when you're in the presence of your man, you can relax. You don't have to be on guard. But a man who is, a feminine, he wants a woman that's going to be masculine because it takes some of the job off of him as a man. And then men who are jealous, back to jealousy, if you're a feminine woman, if you're an accomplished woman and you're working on your level up, you're working on doing better in your life, you want to be better, you want to look better, you want to carry yourself in a better way, you have to watch out for those jealous men. Because a lot of men are not equipped to deal with women who are about leveling up. And your leveling up doesn't have to be you suddenly, you're sitting in mansions, riding G Wagons and all this other stuff. Your leveling up could be that your mindset has changed, that the things you used to like, you don't like. And that can happen within relationships. People don't always stay the same. You can change. And when you're good morning yoga music lover, welcome to the live and welcome to the channel. I appreciate you. Yeah, but when a man, what this all comes down to with the man being jealous, when he is afraid of a woman who actually has goals and expectations, and you begin to change a little bit too much, you begin to look like and act like you're out of his league, that's when he will become jealous and envious of you. And that's why it's important in the very beginning that you vet a man properly, that you know who you're getting together with. I feel like my lips are getting dry. Excuse me one moment. Oh my word. I always had veiny hands, but I get those veiny hands from my dad. Okay. Nothing I can do about it. I have veins for days. Okay. The doctor has no problem sticking me because I got very veiny hands. And these nails make my finger. All right. I'm getting all sidetracked. And I'm getting buzzing. Who's buzzing? But yes, men who are afraid of you surpassing them, like suddenly you're going to be out of his league, he will be jealous and envious of you. And you want to be with a man that at least will be comfortable with you leveling up. He doesn't have to be, taking over the world, but just don't stop you from being a better woman. And you have some men that are so jealous, so envious, so toxic, you can tell them like you're doing something very basic, like going back to school, starting a business, you're taking better health, care of your health, going to the gym. And a jealous man will look at that as somehow a threat to him. He will look at it not as, wow, she's really a great compliment to me as a woman. He's going to look at that like, who's she getting cute for? Why are you doing all of that? And a lot of men, let me just tell you a little, I hate to say it, but some men, when they're jealous and envious and they're a dusty, your level up is fear. It scares them because they feel like you're going to put them in a position to do things that they have not have to do. They might be used to you being the kind of woman that takes charge and don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then suddenly when you get your mind right and realize I need to get back into my femininity, men who are not ready for that, they will say and do everything to try and get you to go back to your old masculine, crazy ways. You don't need to wear makeup. And see, the not wearing makeup thing. On my previous videos, I've said, I'm not a girly that feels like I need to wear a bunch of makeup. I don't like the unnatural looking makeup, but I'm not opposed to it. But I'm a woman. So I feel like woman to woman, we could say what we want, But when a man is trying to convince you, why are you worrying about your hair? You look good natural. Why are you worrying about your makeup? Why are you worrying about this? You look good natural. He's trying to keep you in a place to where he doesn't have to keep up any kind of maintenance. He doesn't want you to get outside of his league. And I know that might seem very shallow, but you have some men, they get to that point where it's like, okay, you're not about to have me out here doing man stuff. Like, we're not doing that. You get back to being the trucker that I met before, stuff like that. You have some men that are really like that, where they get jealous of the littlest things when they should see it as a compliment. You even have some men that are not necessarily, their nature is not toxic, but they just have their moments sometimes, even well-meaning men. And this is the reason why this takes me to my next point. As women, the way you combat jealousy and envy, and you don't worry about jealousy and envy from man or woman alike, you focus on yourself. Focus on leveling up. And don't worry about who it makes feel uncomfortable. If they're uncomfortable with what you're doing, if they only like you at your worst moments, those are not people you need to be around. Let me look at the comments. A jealous, narcissistic ex. My experience has also been that there are many mean older women in the workplace, 50s, 60s, and those nearly retirement. Yes, dealing with makes room for no one. Exactly. This beautiful butterfly, and welcome to the channel. Now, I have not made a video about jealousy from older women toward younger women. And the reason why I have not done that is because this channel is called All Things Woman. And based on a lot of the comments and the conversations, I see that there are all age brackets here, and I appreciate you all. That's the reason why I created this channel. But we also understand that, the jealousy and envy sometimes when it comes from older women towards younger women, and I think I might have touched on it in one video, you do see that a lot. But what I say, because for me, I am the kind of woman who I want to learn from older women, and thankfully I have been around a few older women where there's no competition. I think sometimes women just have that catty nature sometimes, but it's nothing that is ill-willed where you can actually learn from them. And I think the issue comes in with a lot of older women being jealous of younger women is that they're still trying to compete where they don't compare. And I say that with all respect, because what older women don't understand a lot of times, not all older women, but some, is that if you've been there and done that, you are now in the authoritative position to be that diva, feminine, confident example to the younger women. Still trying to compete with the 20-something-year-old when you're in your, upper, over the age of 40. To me, it's like the way I see it, even at my age, when I look at young ladies in their late teens and 20s, I just be like, we're not on the same level, darling. Like, we're not on the same level. We're just not. And I keep it that way because I understand that I'm older than them. I probably had more experiences than them. And there's no competition. You have to learn how, and as women, this is how you can combat jealousy too. You have to queen at your level. You have to be a confident queen at your level where you are right now. Stop worrying about what, cooking with Kaya and them and, the young girls and all that. Let them have that. Like, that we're not even in the same lane, And for me, I just don't feel like I need to compete with a 20-year-old. For what? Like, been there, done that. I've had kids, still gonna look good, but my 30-something is not looking like my 20-something. And when you have women who feel like they're going to still be in the same, I hate to say league, but league with younger women or older women or whatever, it's like you're focusing on the wrong thing. Focus on yourself. Focus on being the best version of yourself. That's how you can combat becoming jealous of another person and then not worrying about other people being jealous of you. It's like, I'm not going to compete with some 20-year-old who, she's never had any children. She's never been married. She just out here living her life, enjoying herself. Wonderful. Do that. There's no comparison between us. I admire your beauty. Beautiful. I remember when my skin was that tight. Yes. But we're not on the same page. Somebody who's older than me. For me, if you have me by 10 years, you're 10 years my senior, you are not my peer. I respect you. I look at you respectfully as my elder. We're not in competition. I don't look at any woman as competition, and you shouldn't look at any woman as competition. But when they're extremely younger than you or extremely older than you, it's like we're just in two different lanes. It just shouldn't matter, Fair Use Empathy Cafe, welcome to the channel. God is create. We don't compete or chase. Absolutely, we do not. We do not compete for men. We do not chase men. We do not compete against women, and we do not chase down women and try to befriend people who are not genuinely for us. We don't do any of that. At 62, I have many daughters that I didn't give birth to. I love to teach. And I respect you for saying that, Miss Gloria. It's like you understand the value that you have as a woman, have always had as a woman, but especially at your age now, you embrace that. And a lot of women, that's the issue. They don't embrace where they are. They just look at where somebody else is. And that's where the hate and the envy and the jealousy and the animosity and tension comes in, instead of embracing where you are, queen at your level. A lot of women look at somebody that's, has her own business, has these things and all of that. And because you're so focused on what another woman has, you're neglecting the things that you have. You might not be in a mansion. You might be in a nice 3-4 bedroom house. Clean it, make it look good, make it smell good. And if you're able to rest, rest in your kingdom, queen in your lane. That's what women really have to learn how to do. I think a lot of jealousy, tension, and animosity would be avoided if women really just began to look at themselves and say, I am the standard. You know, when you look at yourself as a standard, it's like nobody else matters. And you're not saying that in a conceited way. I'm not saying that in a conceited way, but really it's like, you're not me. Like nobody can be me but me, you know? I don't want to sound conceited, but it is what it is, you know? Nobody can be me but me, you know? If we not getting older, we dead. Exactly. Fair use, empathy. Exactly. Like if you're not getting older, then, you know, you are no longer with us. And we don't want that. You know what I mean? So Lakeisha Thornton, welcome to the channel. What if the other woman has more? If the other woman has more than you. Now, I want to make this clear because if the other woman has more, let me make something clear. Feeling jealous of another person, having that momentary feeling of jealousy, absolutely normal. It's an emotion, it's a feeling. We all have felt it from time to time. You might have prayed for something, want something, wished for something, and suddenly you see a woman or a man or whoever getting all of the things that you want right in front of you. Who's not going to feel some kind of way in that moment? You wanted a new car. Now your neighbor across the street just pulled up in a new car. Of course, there's going to be a moment where you're going to look out the window and say, she don't, how did she get, you're going to have those moments. We're human. We're human. There's been many times, especially in business, I'm like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? But the difference between the jealousy and envy I speak about, it's a personal attack towards a person. Feeling jealous or envious in a moment over what somebody else has, we're human. If you want a house and somebody else is getting a house right in front of you and you're walking through with them looking at it, you might be happy for that person, but there's a part of you saying, why not me? We're all guilty of that. The jealousy and envy I'm talking about is when they look at you and say, you don't deserve that because it's you. What is about you? And then suddenly the energy shifts toward you because you have something they want. That's when jealousy and envy becomes toxic. No, if you're sitting next to me or you come in my house or I come in your house and I see you have, you know, a nook, one of those nooks that you can actually sit in with the pillows and the, you know, the books and all that stuff and the window, the picture window, and you can actually sit in it. I come in your house and see that. I'm going to be like, that's beautiful. I wish I had that because I want that so bad. And the way my house is laid out, I don't think we can make it. I want to, but I don't think we can. But if I come to somebody's house and I see that cozy, cottagey looking picture window with the nook, yeah, I'm going to be like, I want one of those. Yeah, I'm going to tell my husband, can you make me? I want one of those. But I'm not going to continue to walk through your house and look at you and say, I don't know who she thinks she is because she got that picture window. You think you better than me because now you got the nook? You think, no, we're not doing all of that. No, you get it? It's like a desire that somebody else has. You want what they have. What they have is nice. You wish you could have it. But you can still be around that person. And what I will do, because I'm not a hater, I'm going to talk to her and say, did that nook come with your house or did your husband build that? Maybe he can talk to my husband and show him how to do that. If you don't mind, because that's very nice. I like that. I'm not going to just suddenly not talk to her anymore. I'm not just suddenly going to look at her as if she did something wrong to me because her house was built in a certain way. That's weird. That's weirdo energy. That's negative. I hope you all understand. I've never been jealous of anyone. I'm happy when someone is doing good. If anyone, I want to learn how to get it. Exactly. And I excuse me one moment because I'm getting all kinds of buzzes from my husband checking in. No, not yet. My goodness. As I was saying, sorry. Yeah, you don't, yeah, when somebody gets something, I've never been jealous of anyone. I'm happy when someone is doing good. If anything, yeah. And I read a comment of someone saying, just because you ask somebody what perfume they have on, that doesn't mean they're automatically going to tell you. No, they're not. And nor are do they have to. A lot of women like to gatekeep a lot of things. And I am not anti gatekeeping. I'm not. That's how you keep a lot of things in order. That's how you keep a lot of things disrupted from toxicity. However, I do think some women go to the extreme when it comes to gatekeeping. When you feel the need to gatekeep so much, it shows that you're a little bit threatened by the person or the community or whoever you're gatekeeping from. If you feel like if I let her know about this, she's going to do it better than me, you're jealous, you're envious, you're afraid of that person showing you up in some way. And you should never be that way. Now, I'm not talking about in business because in business, I believe that you can give somebody a blueprint, you can give them an outline, but you don't need to go into detail about every little thing you did, especially when you worked hard for something. There is a level of effort that people have to put in, but I'm just not with the extreme gatekeeping. I'm just not. I think we work better together as women when we vibe off of one another and not hate on each other. I think if we were more apt to share our, things we know about womanhood, things we know about life, things we know about fashion, things we know about all different things, relationships, healthy relationship advice. I think we would be more closer connected as women if we didn't gatekeep so much. Some women, they talk about being girls, but then they don't want to tell you anything. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to get too close for anything. And there's a point where you can protect yourself from toxic, negative women. That's from recognizing them for what they are based on the things that I tell you here. But there's another thing when you're jealous and envious of another woman, and you rather just watch on the sideline and try to figure out what she's doing, opposed to saying, hey, sis, I love your hair. How did you do it? Did you do it yourself? Did you go somewhere? Like how, and she doesn't have to tell you anything. She could say, oh, no, I did it myself and leave it at that. That's her right. But when you are not a jealous, envious person, you don't mind being vulnerable in that way and opening yourself up and saying, hey, I like that. You look pretty. That's beautiful. Giving another woman a compliment takes nothing away from you. That's the point. Very extremely possible the 18-year-old sister needs to keep her distance. Discernment. Yeah, you have to have discernment. Hi, Miss CC. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you for being here. What do you think about a 25-year-old sister being jealous of her 18-year-old sister? I think it's weird. I'm sorry I had to say that, just the way it is. When you're 25 years old and you're jealous of your 18-year-old sister, that's your baby. That's your opportunity to impart your little 25-year-old wisdom into her. That's that's your doll. You can spruce her up. You can tell her some things. You can show her some things. To be jealous of an 18-year-old, I don't know what went wrong, but something did. That's just my opinion, and I don't have any sisters, but just me with my daughter. And the way I look at her, and I'm just like, I have to remind myself she's her own person. She's her own person. But earlier on, you can shape and mold and you teach them, it's that I look at her as if, you're an extension of me. So to the question, 18-year-old sister, you're jealous at 25. She's an extension of you. Why would you be jealous of something that's yours? That's just the way I see it, People have a hard time accepting the choices they made in their lives, and so they can be jealous of someone who's living their life to the fullest. Absolutely. Yeah, I've spoken about that before. When you have been a woman who, you decided to overcome the things that you went through, and they still might be in the trenches. They might still be in those things, and they see, well, I came out of that. Why didn't you? Or they'll still in it and they feel some kind of way towards you because they're still stuck. It all comes down to choice a lot of times. And I'm not going to be naive to think that, choices are always easily made. They're not. However, being a woman who came from a toxic environment, who grew up in a very toxic, unhealthy environment, I know it's not impossible. And I had to ask God to help me to be more empathetic toward people who were still choosing to be in the struggle. Because for me, it's like, if you don't like something, change it. If you don't like being a certain way, change it. But for some people, sometimes it's not the physical that needs to change. It's the mindset. It's like when your mind is stuck, you can't make any moves. And jealous people, when they have a stuck mindset, and they see somebody doing the things they want to do or living the way they want to live, they have that mindset of, you know, if they're doing this, then it should come easy for me. Or they don't think, what do I have to do to be that way? They think they shouldn't be that way because we came from the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, I know that's some kind of social issue. That's a social problem. You know, when I greet women, I always say, hello, beautiful. Some women give me a nasty stare simply from saying hello. Yes. Yes. Yeah, they'll give you a nasty stare because a lot of women, you know, and I would say this is all things woman, stagnant. Yeah, exactly. But a lot of women are not apt to receive compliments from other women. And this is just my opinion because they're not used to getting them. They're used to being around women who are mean, miserable, nasty, you know, and all women who have jealousy and envy, they're not always, you know, they're victims. Sometimes they're just victims of their surroundings. And when they come across a woman who is not jealous, who is not toxic, who is not putting them down, they don't know how to receive it. Much like women who are used to dealing with dusties and jealous men or toxic men, when they encounter a man who is a decent man, treating them well, speaking to them well, they don't know how to receive it because they're used to toxicity. So I think a lot of times women don't know how to receive compliments from other women because they're used to auntie and them always saying something negative, or always has something smart to say, or always, you know, putting them down in some way. They're not used to women who actually mean what they say, like they're being genuine. And sometimes I have to remind myself, you know, if I speak to a woman and she just gives me the skunk eye or she rolls her eyes, you know, she's probably used to women just coming at her any old kind of way. She's probably not used to people, you know, actually acknowledging her, smiling at her. It's not me. It can't be me. I just met her 5 minutes ago. Can't be me. So you have to remind yourself of that too. You know, when you encounter women who, you know, roll their eyes at you, you don't know them from, like they used to say back in the day, a can of paint. It's not personal. It's something going on with them. It's not you, it's them. And you just, you know, that didn't take anything away from you. You still gave her the compliment. She might feel good about that, just didn't know how to receive it because she's so used to women walking by her, rolling her eyes. You know, even those of us who are women who give other women compliments and are kind and who are gentle, when you are used, or when you were used, I can use myself for an example. I was used to women giving me the skunk eye, rolling their eyes, you know, just, you know, that kind of thing because the environment was very toxic. So when I started being around women who would compliment me and say, oh, your hair looks nice, I would always think it was something to it. You know, you have that suspicion where it's like, do you really think my hair is cute? What are you trying to say? You know, it's like, and that's so toxic. That is so toxic. You could tell you're coming from a toxic environment when you're suspicious of everything, even the positive things that people say, because you're used to people not meaning what they say. But yeah, a lot of women, they're just not used to receiving compliments from other women. Like where I work, you know, I have a lot of women, sometimes they look beautiful. I had one woman, she was, you know, and I say this not to make any issue with weight, because for me, I can be up and I can be down in my weight. I can be a flagpole one day and then I can be a little voluptuous the next day, a lot voluptuous the next day. Okay. This is not a matter of weight, but I'm making a point. This woman was a little bit on the heavier side, but she was beautiful, beautiful face. Even the clothing she had on, it was a little tight for my liking, but the outfit was nice and her makeup and all of that. So she walked by and I was like, oh, you look pretty. So you look cute. And she looked at me and was like, you can tell. I don't know how my eye rolling translated on the camera. I hope it didn't look crazy, but you can tell that she wasn't accustomed to a woman giving her a compliment because she looked at me like, you really don't mean that. And this is just my reason and my opinion. When a woman doesn't feel good about herself, especially when it comes to her weight, sometimes she cannot receive compliments from other women. If she doesn't feel good about her weight, if she feels like she's missing the mark in some way, no matter what you say to her, she's going to take it as a negative. And that's why, as women, I will say this. You have to make sure that you stay at a comfortable weight for you. I'm not going to tell you a number because the numbers are different for every woman based on your height. For me, I'm 5'4". They said I should be technically on the scale, I should be between 150 15 pounds and 138 pounds. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be no 138 pounds. Like, that just doesn't look good on me. I haven't been 138 pounds since I was in high school. Like, I'm too grown. The way I'm built and everything just can't do 138. So I'm not going to tell you a number. I'm going to tell you to stick with a weight that makes you feel comfortable, a weight that is healthy, and a weight that will not have you looking at other people like they're saying something wrong to you when they compliment you. If you feel uncomfortable in your skin and you don't have any medical issues, you can change that. A lot of times women cannot, accept compliments because they don't feel good about their weight. They don't feel comfortable around other women when they feel like they're out of shape or they're just not, they're not getting it at the moment. I've been there. For me, I know it's time for me to work out a little bit more when my calves start expanding. I don't like, for me, to have really thick calves. When my calves get a little too thick and my stomach is starting to come over a little, I'm like, nope, time for me to scale it back. But I'm not looking at any numbers. I don't worry about those kind of things. I worry about how I feel and how I look in my clothes. I give you this information to say a lot of times women are jealous of things that they can change. If you can change something about yourself, there's no reason why you should be jealous of another woman for doing the things, putting in the work to do what you should not do. Some people say to me, oh, you're little. And some people say, okay, you slim, thick. To me, I say I fall somewhere in the middle. I'm definitely not skinny. And I can get skinny in a minute. This is a little sidebar. I have a spin bike. I love spinning. When I first got my spin bike, my husband, he got the spin bike and everything, put it together. I would be down there just spinning off into another universe. I lost like 15 pounds in like a month. My husband would tell me, like, don't go down there and turn into a flagpole. He said, keep your curves. Keep your curves. Okay. I lost them all because I love what I'm doing. You're not doing this for men. I just heard that in my spirit. You're not doing this for men. I want you to understand, none of this is for a man. This is for you. Men just benefit from what we look like. This is for you. And this is about the reason why a lot of women cannot take compliments, because they don't feel good about themselves, especially when their weight is not where they want it to be, in my opinion. Zen Tara, I don't know what you're talking about. Love that. Misha, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live. I gave a lady a compliment and she leaned over to a friend and said that I was hitting on her. Girl, look. Welcome to the new millennium. But you see, I'm not going to touch that too much, but I've had that also, that miscommunication, that confusion. I'm not even going to touch that. She said you were hitting on her. My goodness. I had a cousin do that, roll her eyes at me under her glasses. She do this all the time. I'm like, okay, next time, wore my evil eye bracelet. Her son was 3, ran into the street. Gina, I don't agree with that, sweetie. I don't. But I don't think it was right for your cousin to do what she should have did. The more these women and men hate on you, the more love you should give to yourself. Absolutely. And that is, a lot of people ask me in the videos, so how do I deal with it? How do I deal with it? You love yourself enough to not deal with it. I mean, I shouldn't have to make a video saying how to handle 5 tips and tricks, 10 ways to deal with jealous people. You're not going to need 10 ways to deal with jealous people when you remove yourself or limit your interaction with them. We do not tolerate jealous people. If you find yourself in an environment where you have to be around people who are like that for a time, like school or work, those are really the only places where I can say that a woman might have to kind of sort of deal with some people, is because it's attached to your education or your money. But in your everyday life, just going about your circle of friends, the family members you choose to be around, there's no way that you should even have to formulate a strategy to deal with those people, because you shouldn't. That's the reason why I've never made a video saying 10 ways to deal with them, because you don't. You have to love yourself enough and have enough self-worth and value to recognize when somebody is hating on you, somebody is jealous or envious of you, somebody just doesn't care for you for some reason, and remove yourself. No tips or tricks or strategies required. You know, Zen 11, I'm going to have to remove you. Oh, I have. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, Zen. I thought you were saying something else. So you can stay. Oh, I have haters. It's okay. Just stay. Yeah, just stay in your lane. Your lane. Most are not motivated enough to discipline themselves. Absolutely. When it comes to the word discipline and haters and jealousy and envy, a lot of them are not disciplined enough to do the things that you have done to better yourself. See, some people were accustomed to you blowing through money. And I must say, when it comes to jealousy and envy, money is usually the number one thing that a lot of people find themselves jealous and envious of other people because of. When they have more money or perceive that they have more money than them, they get jealous. But a lot of times, what they don't see is that they made changes. You might have made changes in your life so that you have the money that you have. You might have decided to, okay, I'm not going to work so hard for other people. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone and do some things that are going to benefit me later in life. A lot of women talk about living this soft life. How can you live a soft life when you're spending your entire time hating on somebody else? A lot of women, when they're talking about, strategy and tips and tricks, a lot of women would benefit if they strategize on how to look good, be better in how they carry themselves, and to get their money up. A lot of women will feel a lot better about themselves if they had the money that they want. And money is not a god. We do not worship money. But as confident women, as feminine women, it makes you feel good when you're able to do the things you want to do. You might not be able to do every single thing you want to do, but it gives you more freedom. And a lot of women who are jealous and envious, they don't really have the freedom to do the things they want to do because they've been brainwashed into believing that their happiness is always attached to somebody else. But when you take over the role of your own happiness and you understand that you're in control of your own life, God ultimately in control, but you're in control of your own life and you have a choice in how you want to be, that jealousy and that hate and all of that stuff, that just disappears because you're too busy focusing on yourself. You're too busy focusing on your level up. Free will, absolutely. It's a vibrational thing. And yeah, I don't really subscribe to that, but I get what you're saying. It's more, your faith. Where's your level of faith? Where's your level of confidence in yourself? And and this is another reason why your environment matters. A lot of jealous, toxic people never remove themselves from the environment that is keeping them stuck. They continue to say that they want to level up and do better in life, and they're trying to do this and trying to do that. But they're around toxic, negative people who always have something negative to say, and they're holding them back every step of the way. And they wonder why they do not move forward in life. You cannot, and I repeat, and I want you to hear this, you cannot move forward in life around a bunch of haters. You can't. You cannot move forward in life around a lot of people who have a stuck, stagnant mindset. And I'm not saying that your circle has to be perfect, that everybody has to be a go-getter, but what they at least have to do is respect your decision to do you. And if they can't do that, you need to remove yourself from those people. Anytime you have people trying to hold you back from taking on different opportunities to better yourself, those people are jealous of you. There's no way around it. Those people are haters. They're jealous of you. They don't want to see you out of the trenches. And most jealousy spreads, what they say, misery love company. That's what it is. Misery loves company. Let me sip my tea. I had one woman that would try to body shame me and say slick things under her breath. All I do is go to work and do my job. This woman has also lied on me for no reason. Yeah, women, when it comes to women with cute bodies, cute faces, the way you keep yourself, women get really, really, irate about a cute woman, about a beautiful woman, about a woman that carries herself well. You don't even have to be the most fit woman. You could be a woman that's very shapely, very voluptuous. But if you carry it well, you're going to have a woman. I'll tell you about I was in, where was I at? I don't know if it was like the nail salon or was the nail salon or hair salon. It's a long time ago. But, women are sitting there, in the nail salon, women don't even speak to one another. They don't even speak to the people. They just bark orders. So they come in mean and miserable half the time. I'm not like that. When I go into the nail salon, I'll speak to the lady that's helping me. Little chit chat. I don't like to do all that over talking, but a little chit chat. She's talking to me. At least I will have a friendly presence when I come in. I say good morning or hello, or I just need a refill. How you doing? Some women come in and they're so mean, so miserable. They just like barking orders, like refill, like just barking. So I'm giving you the story because one time a woman walked in and she was so cheery and so nice and she was pretty. And do you know the women in the salon, you can feel that energy. I just felt the energy shift when she walked in because what she had on, she didn't look like it was early in the morning and she didn't look like she was just getting out of bed or nothing. She didn't look like she was just running errands. She looked like she was going to an event or something and getting ready for her day. She was like beautiful. And the other women who were in there were looking like giving her a roll in their eyes. And I'm just like feeling that tension. I'm like, that's so weird. Like, so this lady walked in, minding her business, looking good, being nice. And now you all have a problem with her. That is so toxic. That is so weird. But you have women who are like that. And I give you that story to say, when you have a nice body, when you have a nice whatever it is, I mean, you can have just nice hair. You can have a nice smile. Women who are jealous and don't feel good about their bodies, they will hate on that. And see, the reason why a lot of women should not be jealous of another woman's body, a lot of times it's things that you cannot control. Now, having a fit body, having a nice body, having muscles and all of that, that's a gym workout. But if a woman has, a different skin tone than yours, a different hair texture than yours, these are things that she cannot control and you cannot control. You have women, and I'm going to go there for a moment, and I touched on it in the video I just released about colorism and this exotical, beauty and all of that. The problem with a lot of women, when they're jealous, they have equated beauty with having to be exotic in some way. And I think this is a lot of our conditioning as society. I can only speak to the United States, but as a society, we look at different colors, not me personally, but a lot of people say lighter is better, skinnier is better, straighter hair is better. The more narrow your nose is, the better. And this is not to knock the women. I want you to understand this very clear. This is not a slight on the women who are naturally light, who have light hair, who have long hair, who have skinny, features. They're small. This is not a slight on the petite women. You are who you are and you're beautiful. But the issue is that when people see a woman who doesn't fit the standard that they have created, and a lot of times it's not the light-skinned women or the exotic women who have created the standard. It is the people who don't see their own worth, see their own value, and see their uniqueness who has made them the standard. I know half of my family is light-skinned, so it's not about that, It's about the, how can I say it, fetishizing of lighter features, of European features, of skinniness, of lightness, as if it's somehow superior to women who might be darker, who might have a kinky hair texture, who might, have not such a narrow facial features. I very well have Afrocentric features. My nose is wide, my cheeks are wide, my smile is wide, everything is wide. Thank you, ancestors. Okay? It is what it is. And as women, when you realize that it is what it is, you will not have hate toward another woman. Are there some of our lighter skinned counterparts who act a certain way? Absolutely, they do. Are there some of our chocolate counterparts who act a certain way? Absolutely, they do. It comes on both sides. But the issue is when you highlight one being better than the other, that's when jealousy and envy comes in. And for myself, I think I fall somewhere in the middle, neither dark nor light. I'm more brown. I say caramel complected. And I'm fine with that. I don't compare myself to anybody else. I'm not using lightening cream to lighten my skin. If you're lightening blemishes, that's fine. It's all preference. I'm saying these things to make the point. When you look at one hair texture, skin color as more superior, that's also opening the door to jealousy and envy. And when you hate on things that you cannot control, such as your hair texture and your skin color, that's like self torment. That's just silly. It's very silly. And women should not do that. Okay? Let me look at some of my comments. If you ever wonder why you're feeling stagnant, check your circle. The people you're around might be blocking your blessings. Absolutely. I used to think that if I stayed quiet and out of the way, that people would leave me alone. That is not the case. Absolutely not, Jan Jan. Welcome to the Jan Jan SXM. Welcome to the live stream. I absolutely appreciate you. Sometimes you get the opposite response from being quiet and to yourself. I never realized that being quiet and minding my business can stir up a ruckus in jealous people. I never knew that you could be considered conceited, bougie, thinking you're better than somebody, all because you choose not to talk to certain people. And as I've said before, if a woman is quiet in the presence, oftentimes, if a woman is quiet in the presence of certain people, especially other women, it's because she already knows, because of her silence, because she has a more observative, that's not a word, because she likes to observe people. She's more, she just looks, say it, I'm sick of the colorists. Absolutely. She has a more observant personality. She doesn't say much. She kind of observes her surroundings. She might already know what these women are about, and she's choosing to be quiet. Or she might be shy, or she might have social anxiety, or she might be just there to mind her business and do her job, or she might just not feel like being bothered. Those are all things that are perfectly fine, except for the social anxiety. You want to work on that one because that's mental. You want to work on that. But a lot of times women be, jealous and envious of women who are struggling with anxiety. She's quiet, dealing with something, going through, trying to maintain. And all the while they're thinking that she doesn't like her. This lady is having her own personal issues happening. And that's why they say, and I believe a lot of jealous, envious people are a little bit narcissistic. They think everything is about them, especially in the workplace. There's nothing, and please understand, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to work, doing your job, and minding your business. You are not obligated to speak. Okay, I say speak. Yes, you want to greet people, smile, hi, but you don't have to become besties with your coworkers. You don't have to be in deep conversations with people you work with. Actually, I don't advise it. For me, it took me a while to realize, these people are nice, they're kind, they're friendly, they're helpful, but don't Facebook friend request me. Don't Instagram request me. Don't try to follow my channel. Don't ask. No. For what? Why? No. Because you want to dig into information when it comes to something that's attached to your money. And this is just wisdom. You don't want people knowing too much about your life. Even if you live a very low key life, there's nothing to hide. It's none of their business. You don't have to have a reason for why you don't want your coworkers in your business. You just don't. The goal is to get the money. If you form friendships, if you form some kind of bonds, wonderful. But it's not about that. Don't feel like you have to go out of your way to put on a show for other people. Unless you're an entertainer, you don't have to do all of that. And I stand by that. Even where I work now, and I don't work as much as I used to, but if it doesn't come natural, I'm not going out of my way to converse with you. I'm not trying to hold such heavy conversations and try to act fake close. For what? It's not necessary. We're here to work. You help me, I help you. Now, if we're talking about work-related things and I'm able to help you to the best of my ability, I will do that. But you want to dive deep into different topics of my life. If I'm not comfortable with you, then I'm not going to tell you things about myself. And you don't have to. I only have one coworker, and I say two, where they know a little bit of things about my children, about my husband, and it's because like things that happened. My husband had an accident and I told them about that. And, they were praying and they were asking, and you could tell when coworkers really have when a coworker is kind of sort of getting into that friend territory, when something happened weeks ago and they'll ask you about it. My husband had an accident a couple months ago, and a coworker asked me like 2 weeks ago, how's your husband? He's okay. Everything's good from that. And I'm like, you still remember that? Wow. Okay. I'm still not naive, but that does kind of show me that you care about things that are not drama. You know what I mean? So you really have to fill people out. But the point being, you don't have to put on a show for your coworkers. They're your coworkers. Help each other out if you need to. Do your job and go home. Like, why put that added stress on yourself? And when people are not taught, when women are not their taught self-worth and self-value, you go out of your way trying to be performing for people and trying to make people feel comfortable and doing all these different things. No, we're not performers. It's not at work unless you're an entertainer. It's not necessary, in my opinion. People be envious of you and don't have an idea of the struggles you may go through behind it. Absolutely. It's all about perception. And you have to thank social media for that, because people will see highlights of things and they assume, and this is not to say that everybody that's happy on the outside is not just genuinely happy and they're like that. But if you see a woman who is unbothered, normally when you see a woman who is unbothered and resting peacefully in her femininity and her quietness, just gets to enjoy her own company, oftentimes that's a woman who's been through some stuff and she's gotten out on the other side of that. And now she refuses to let anybody disrupt her peace. So she moves very different than the average woman. So if you're not going through struggle now, you might have been a woman who has went through some things, and people don't realize that. They hate on you and they're envious, but they don't realize it took you work to get to the point where you are unbothered. It took work to get to the point where you love yourself enough to not worry about whether or not somebody else is uncomfortable by your silence. You rather be silent and keep your peace than to try to appease other people and find yourself caught up in somebody's drama. You know what I mean? And there is a balance, but once again, you have to know how to fill people out. I don't understand jealousy because I am not like that. And that is wonderful. Gianna Marks, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but that's wonderful that you don't understand jealousy. I wish I didn't understand jealousy either. But on this channel, I speak about that because many women do, and it's a real thing going on. I mean, there's been many crimes committed that have been connected to jealousy, envy, toxic behavior. So it's best that you never experience it, but that you're still aware of it. People be envious of you because you don't have any struggles. Diana, narcissists are the most insecure people. That's why they always try to make others insecure. Confident people don't put others down. Absolutely not. Put somebody down for what? Like, what does that do for you? When you put somebody down, what does that do for you? I'm not saying if you're in an argument, when you're in an argument, nobody's keeping it classy when you're in the heat of battle, and you shouldn't be in any battles. I thank God I don't argue with anybody. I barely argue with my husband. I leave him talking to himself. I just, when you get to a certain place where you're that level of unbothered, you just find other things to do than to go back and forth with somebody or to argue or to just nitpick and catfight. It's just, you just can't. You just don't have the energy for it. And I chalk that up to growth, and I chalk that up to being in your femininity. Ashanti Tatiana, my cousin is jealous of me. She used to sit there and watch my social media all the time, like my Twitter. And what? And that's weird. And thank you for bringing up social media accounts. Confident feminine women with things to do. We don't worry about who's following us on social media, who's liking or not liking our pictures. We don't worry about any of those things. We're not looking through the comments to see so-and-so didn't say anything. I wonder if she has a problem with me. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I think this social media thing, I love social media. It has benefited me greatly. But what we're not going to do is allow people on social media to cause us to be distressed in our real lives. We just don't do that as women. A photo is a photo. Your business is your business. If they don't support your business online, then it's like, hey, there's more where that came from. And when somebody's just looking at, how did you know that she was looking? I'm just curious. I have to ask, how did you know she was just looking at your Twitter account and your Instagram account? Because I know on TikTok, when people look at your account, you can see who's looking, which is very weird. You can see who just scrolled through but didn't like. But you can't really see that on Instagram and Facebook and the other one. So how did you know? Did you like walk by and see her looking? That's very weird. Let me sip some of my tea. Yeah, TikTok. I like TikTok and I dislike TikTok for that very reason. It's like you just know. Forgive me for looking at my phone, but I'm a mom and I just happen to look, make sure I didn't get no emails from the girl, from my son. No calls. I have it on silent. But yeah, that's very weird. TikTok. People can look at your profile and they'll show you that they looked at it, but they didn't interact. They didn't hit like, they didn't do anything. They just see it. And I see that sometime, and I see the people who scroll through and didn't like, and I'm just like, why are you here? Like what's the point? Like, why are you even here? Why are you even on my friends list? You might as well just dismiss yourself. I don't dismiss anybody from friends list, from any of that stuff. I let them dismiss themselves. I don't worry about that kind of stuff. But I noticed it on TikTok because they make it so obvious. Like I'll share the videos here and then I look and I'm like, Auntie didn't even like it. Girl, must hit home. I don't know. I don't care. All those things you just said. I have a story for every topic you have talked about. 100%. I had learned what not to put energy into. Yeah. And please believe, some people don't know how to disconnect real life from like instruction or from social media or from YouTube. Like, yes, everything I talk to you all about is either my lived experience, things that I know, people who have experienced these things, or just my observations. But right now in this moment, thank God, for years, I don't deal with these things because I don't deal with them. I don't allow myself to be in these situations. And when I do find myself in a situation that even hints at some kind of drama, jealousy, foolishness, I remove myself. I remove my family. I remove my kids. I don't have time for that. I'll post these videos, but she's in no dramas. Like I'm sipping my tea, eating my oatmeal, just left TJ Maxx or Marshalls. I don't deal with these things on a day-to-day. Thank God anymore. These have been my lived experiences while I was in my 20s, some work environments here and there, but I don't surround myself with toxic people. I just don't. And it doesn't matter to me if you're family, friends, whatever, that's what they have phones for. I can pick up the phone. And if our conversation is starting to get toxic, I'll text you. How you doing? How's everything? If it's getting too heavy, and that's for men and women when it comes to families, because you have some men, they just as bad as the women. They just want to say stuff and do stuff and just, I don't like it. I don't like it. Maybe God or some terrific, horrible thing happened, but people that are that energy, it. Yeah, you can sense it when people are jealous and just negative in general. And none of us are perfect. All of us have moments where we're negative. We wake up feeling blah. I'm talking about the root of a person, their overall personality. You're a hater. Being a hater is a personality type. I'm not saying a moment of jealousy, a moment of envy. I'm not saying none of us have never felt that way. I'm talking about a personality type of being toxic, a hater, and jealous. Those are the kind of people you want to stay away from. We just don't have time. I always say it's either a blessing or a lesson. Absolutely. I strongly believe that a lot of people that I thought I was very close to, there was distance put between us because I could not thrive around that negativity. It was always something negative said, always some kind of little comment, always some kind of little critique. And it's not that you're outside of being critiqued or criticized. We all have judgment towards someone. We all have, there's nothing wrong with taking constructive criticism, they say, from people who actually love you and care about you. But that doesn't come every day. Like nobody's being reality checked and humbled every single day of their life. Nobody's being called a derogatory name every single day of their life. Nobody is being reminded of where they came from every single day of their life. Nobody is being reminded that you're not better than me every single day of your life. And nobody is darn sure being said, oh, you losing a lot of weight. You must be getting sick, Black community. I had to just put that on us for a minute because we're good for that. Healthy equals sick. That's another delusional mindset that a lot of us grew up with. Healthy equals sick because we're so used to seeing people overweight. That might hurt to say, but it's a fact. And when you wake up out of that slumber and realize being healthy, not skinny, being healthy is okay. Like I don't have to sit here and eat the greasiest of foods in order to keep my Black card intact. I don't have to smoke, drink excessively and all of that in order to prove my Blackness, in order to prove whatever you want me to prove. And just speaking to that side of jealousy and envy, specifically for women of color, a lot of times people will be jealous of you all because they don't perceive you as being Black enough. I know a lot of people will be like, what? That's weird. Yeah, some of your own people might be jealous and envious of you because they don't perceive you as being Black enough. And because of that, they want to pick with you. I can't tell you. I actually had a family member allude to the fact that they thought I'm not Black enough, all because I didn't want to pop up on somebody and get in somebody else's business that had nothing to do with me and start a fight. What do I look like here? What am I doing? I'm going to pull up to somebody's house. That's ghetto, number one. The only time I'm pulling up to something, it would have to be pertaining to my children. And once they become adults, depending on what it is, that's their business. But who does that? But if you're not willing to get down in the gutter and the trenches and be ratchet as all get out, you're not Black enough. You're bougie. You think you're better than people. You think this, you think that. No, I think I'm too cute to be in a jail cell. No, I think I like comfort too much to be in a jail cell. No, I don't want to do those bad things. If that makes me corny, if that makes me not Black enough, I don't care. If that makes me, where I came from to say you a punk, I haven't heard that word in a long time. If that makes me a punk, then punk be I. I don't know. I don't do those things. I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm not getting into fights. What? No. In order for anything to be physical, you have to attack me first. Like what? Who does that? Just goes to show you just how toxic and miserable some people are. They're willing to get deep down in the trenches. And if you're not willing to go as deep as them, they become a hater. They say you then lost yourself. You forgot where you came from. I didn't come from that. That's where I was. I wasn't a part of that. I've never been a part of that. I just happened to be placed in that environment for some reason. And when you speak that way and you act that way, and you don't have to speak that way, but when you carry yourself that way, like you're a diamond in the rough, you might live in the hood, but you're not meant to be there. Like you're not a part of that aesthetic. You're not a part of that. People will not like you. I'll be the girl that's in the heart of the hood, sitting on my porch reading a book when whatever's going on up the street. Because I know that even though I was there, I'm not meant to stay there. That's not me. This is not me. This is just where I am right now. I hope you understand that. Who does witchcraft, Ashante? Ashante? Let me look at the comments and sip my tea. I think you all are having a conversation between yourselves. And Ashante, you can receive this from me if you want, because I see you said it matters if she put a spell on me. I'm just going to say nothing is greater than God. Stuff like that is very much real, but nothing and no one is greater than God. Don't let people scare you. And this is a little bit of a mama talk. I'm sorry, I had to mama you for a minute. Don't let somebody scare you into believing that they have that much power over you. They do not. Nothing is greater than God. That's the way I see it. I'm not worrying about that. My God is greater. Thank you for allowing the Father to use you. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle Lewis, Eskin Lewis. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here. I appreciate you because it will show me and my family and tell me. Yeah, no person. And see, that's another thing. People give too much power. And this is not coming at you directly, Ashante, but I just want a lot of people say about, these spells and people are, what is the other one that's that hot button a word now? What is it? I use it monitoring spirits and all this other stuff. It all comes down to wickedness and wicked people. And just a moment of spirituality. When you have the Spirit of God on the inside of you, you don't have to worry about things like that. You keep your guard up and you recognize it for what it is, but no human being has that much power over you if you don't let them. And that's another reason why I believe that I am so unbothered, because I know all of these things, the wickedness, all of that stuff, that's very much real. But it has no power over a child of God. So I don't worry about stuff like that. You say what you want, try what you want. That doesn't matter to me. And there's nothing unfeminine about saying that. That's just the queen. That's the queen in me. That's the God, the Spirit of God in me that just says, I don't worry about things like that. No person has that much power over me. And when you realize that, you move a little bit different. You're a little bit more free in how you carry yourself. You're not so, she said. Meanwhile, she don't even know what she's doing in her life. He doesn't even know what he's doing in his life. He's dusty trying to figure out his next move and how he's going to eat and how he's going to feed his kids. But you're worrying about them. You're worrying about somebody who can't even, just think about it. I think sometimes people have to really use their logic and common sense and think about the people that you are fearful of. Check the source, as they used to say. I am beyond blessed, and I have been trying to figure out why this particular person is jealous of me. I'm so lost as to why. And it's not really your job to sit, Gianna. It's not really your job to try to figure out why. It's your job to recognize it for what it is and protect yourself and remove yourself. Trying to figure out why a hater does what they does and why they are and why they do this and that, that's a waste of time. That's a waste of energy. That energy can be better spent focusing on what you could do for yourself, what you could be doing for your family and those who are close to you, how you could be leveling up and working on your own spiritual and your own self-development. That's a waste of time trying to figure out why wicked people are wicked. That's like trying to figure out why water is wet. It's a waste of time, in my opinion. That part, when you have God inside you, you got to know you are protected. Absolutely. Yeah, the enemy is real, and I definitely don't want to make this a preachy message. The enemy is real, but God is greater. That's just the way I see it. I just have that level of faith and focus. I'm not worrying about that. I'm aware, but I'm not worrying about that. Everybody has a job. They're just doing their job. Absolutely. Like who cares? Who has time to sit around and figure out, I wonder why so-and-so, your relative that live all the way across the country, hasn't spoken to you, and you sitting in your beautiful house with your beautiful family, with your beautiful car, with your nice meal, with your comfort, worrying about why so-and-so and them haven't talked to you or why they don't like you. Who cares? When you recognize it for what it is, that's the first thing you want to recognize, because you don't want to just be around people and there are snakes. But when you recognize it, then it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about that one. Moving on, that kind of thing. And I'm not saying that reconciliation can't happen. Not with jealousy and envy. People who have a deep-seated root of jealousy and envy towards you, you don't really want to be around those people like that. But just disputes and conflicts, you have that kind of stuff in every family. And depending on what it is, you can overcome it. But certain things, it's just best if you just keep your distance from them, period. Because who has time to deal with jealous, toxic people? I know I don't, You want to be around people who see you leveling up and doing well and being happy, and they're still comfortable. When you're around people who see you leveling up, see you doing better, even see you speaking better and carrying yourself in a more confident way, and they get weird, you don't need to be around those people. If those people can only be around you when you're unsure of yourself, you don't need to be around them. No. You want to be around people who can have you at your worst and at your best. You want to be around people who are there to help you wipe your tears, but also clap for you when you're feeling good, or at least stay out the way. And I saw another comment a while ago, somebody saying, if you expect people to clap for you, God didn't say this, people are going to clap for you. No, no, it says, since you want to throw out scripture so much, to bear one another's burdens, and it says to rejoice with those who rejoice. See, a lot of people are able to bear each other's burdens when things are heavy, when things are wrong, but it's the rejoicing part that they struggle with because they're a hater. So I see a lot of people, my scripture warriors out there, and nothing wrong with that. However, please know, I know scripture. I can host a whole Bible study if I was still doing that thing. I know what the scriptures say. So much so, not saying I'm a scholar, you're still learning, but so much so that when I speak about these things, I don't feel bad about it because that's wicked. When it comes down to it, jealousy, envy, being a hater, all that stuff is wickedness. So if you're trying to use scripture to justify somebody being a hater, you need to go back and read a little bit more. I will never allow somebody to manipulate scripture in that way to justify somebody being a hater as if it's okay. No, it says rejoice with those who rejoice too. And that's where a lot of people miss the mark, No. I'm responding to questions too. If you have any questions, I see a lot of remarks and comments from a lot of people. Forgive me. When I talk a lot, I feel like I get dry and the lighting is like, I've used like 3 or 4 different lip glosses. Little sidebar. I love the Sephora lip glosses. These are like $12. I have a whole bunch of these, but I got 2 right here. These are so cute. Oh my goodness, their writing is so small. I love those. I got to get more. I literally will sit here and use like 3 or 4 different lip glosses at a time. This one is just about gone. I got this from Victoria's Secret. Glowing Color Shine lip gloss. I love Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, all that stuff. I could live in Bath and Body Works. I can live at Hobby Lobby. I know, very random. Very random. Just keep it pushing, popping, and moving forward. I love it. Pushing, popping, all that. Yep. I clap for so many others, and I want Atheist One to be happy for me. Regina Barm, I don't understand that last part, but I understand. Jasmine, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live from Tallahassee, Florida. Welcome. I appreciate you. You're new here. How are you liking the channel so far? I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all of you. Misha, could you do a video on how to communicate effectively with your female friends and work through issues together? That is a video I may do in the future. However, that last part I'm going to touch on right now. Thank you for bringing it up. Working through issues together. A lot of times women, they have the inability to work through issues. That's when men and women are very much different in that way. Men can have an issue with one another. They can get riled up, fight it out, argue it out, whatever, and then continue on. Women will have an issue and they will hold on to that passive aggressiveness and that cattiness forever. They'll say they forgave you, but they really don't forgive you. I'm not quite sure why it's like that. I think it's just the nature of some women. I thank God that I have a friend in my life where we've had disputes, we've had little disagreements, and we are still friends. She thought I was doing too much at one time. I thought she was doing too much at one time. She brought it to my attention. I brought it to her attention. It was a little awkward for a moment, but we got right back to it. She texts me on my anniversary. I text her on her birthday. We're right back to it. Being friends, you're going to, anytime you're in a close relationship with anybody, be it your friends, your husband, your cousin, whoever, if you're around somebody that much, you're going to bump heads. But being able to get over stuff, that is really where the relationship flourishes. And a lot of women, because they have that deep-seated jealousy and envy, and they're just toxic, they feel like if you're not constantly in agreement with them, you don't love them, you don't like them. If I have to be on your side about everything, including things that are toxic, if you want me to walk you off the bridge, I just can't be that kind of friend. And I think that's where a lot of female relationships, really, get sour, because a lot of women don't respect each other's differences. And also, and I have to say this, a lot of women are trying to be friends with women that they have nothing in common with. Like, if you don't have anything in common with this friend, with this person, why are you all friends? Like, how did you even meet? Like, if you're always doing more arguing, fussing, fighting, and more drama than anything, then why are you considering this person a friend? Like, if you have to agree, you can't have a disagreement without them talking about you to somebody else. Is that really your friend? Like, and see, at my age, I don't worry about these things. This is more so for those women who are, in the late teens, 20s. By the time you get into your 30s, this is just my belief. You already kind of have your solid group of friends or a couple people that you're really close to, maybe some family members you're close to, and everybody else are kind of like acquaintances. Unless you get a part of a community such as this, or you're a part of a club, or you're doing something in common where you start fostering friendships with other women. But a lot of women, by the time they're 30, 35, they already have their like solid group of friends or the few people they talk to, and everybody else are just acquaintances, in my opinion. And a lot of times it's for that reason, because you don't really have time. A lot of that, and this is just my opinion, it's a lot of emotional tug and war. And when you have a whole family, not saying you have to have a whole family to feel this way, but I'll speak for myself. I have a whole husband, I have children, I have businesses, I have things that I'm doing. I don't have time to coddle the emotions or to make sure we okay with another woman. I just don't have time for that. Now, if you're my close friend, I'm going to make sure, I care about the feelings of other people, of course, and even new friends, new acquaintances. But if it gets challenging, if it's more challenging than rewarding as far as the relationship, I don't think that's a relationship worth hanging on to, in my opinion. I just literally had to distance myself from a relationship with a person who I considered a friend for a long time, somebody I met in church, and I considered them a friend for a long time. But I noticed more times than not when we were around each other, she was saying and doing little things to really rub me the wrong way. She was almost picking, trying to stir up something. And I had to make the hard decision to say, you know what? I still love her as a sister in the Lord, but all this closeness and talking on the phone and all of that, it irritates me so I can't do this. I wouldn't be considered her like somebody really close to me. If I see her out and about, of course, speak, little small talk, but just being close, I can't fake closeness. If you give me more disruption in my peace than more fulfillment in my life, what's the point? What are we doing? That's my opinion on it. But that's good. People get uncomfortable with tension. Tension is good. That's when you change. Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any relationship, be it with a friend or with a husband, spouse, whoever, that you're not going to have some kind of tension. But I can tell you that toxicity and tension and drama should not be the norm. It shouldn't be the average experience, even in your marriage. Like, for me and my husband, it's like, okay, if arguing every day is not something we do, that's toxic. I grew up with that, where it was like a handful of good moments, but the majority was all negative and toxic. No, that's not the kind of relationship that I was built for, whether it be friendship, relationship, whatever, I recently told my friend that she's been inconsistent, and we had a great conversation about it. I'm feeling really good about how we handled it, but I'm wondering how to forgive and move forward. And that's good. When you have a friend that you feel like you can tell them how you feel without them getting defensive, that is a healthy relationship. You told her how you felt. Now, how she receives it, that's on her. And if it seems like she received it in a good way and she's going to try to think about it, that's wonderful. Because when you are friends with somebody, you should be able to tell them like, hey, I don't feel like you come around the way you used to, or we're not talking as much as we used to, or what's going on. If that's something you care about, there's nothing wrong with that. And a part of being in your femininity and being a woman who is more soft and able to embrace her womanhood is that you're not afraid to tell people how you feel, especially if something's bothering you. And hopefully you're talking to people who are able to receive it. So that's a good thing. And I'm glad that you were able to talk to her, and I hope she receives that. Because that's what friends are supposed to do. If you don't like something, or they did something, or you're supposed to be able to receive that, not get defensive and say, well, you're just crazy, or I don't have time for this. No. If it's like that, then you might as well just be by yourself, in my opinion. Regina Barham, welcome to the channel. I would want to see one person happy for me. I clap for so many others. Don't need to be enemies at all. Yes, I hate my type. Yeah, so when you say you want people to clap for you, yeah, and thank you so much for these comments because it's bringing me to all the points that I really wanted to hit on. Sometimes we're looking for people to clap for us. We're looking for certain people to clap for us that will never clap for us, meaning they will never be our support system. Oftentimes, the people you want to be your support are often your biggest haters. They're the biggest jealous, envious people in your life, especially when you're doing new things. When you're doing things that are actually going to help to elevate you in life and make you a better person, it's not going to be oftentimes those people that you're closest to that are going to support you the most. It's going to be those new people, those new interaction, those acquaintances, those opportunities that come your way as a result of you leveling up and getting better in some way. Sometimes you have too much history with the people that you're around. And because of that, they cannot clap for you because they know you or knew you from how you used to be. They knew you from how, you all were, or it's just too familiar. So when you're expecting somebody who, let's say, for example, you used to be a regular worker, now you're the supervisor, you can't expect for some people to just easily accept you as the supervisor when they started out with you 10 years ago and now you're in a level of authority. Or when your cousin, who used to be the one who always used to have something up over you and they used to put you down and all of that, but now you're not the ugly duckling. You're the cute one. You're cute and you're kind and you're friendly and you're doing well. They're not going to be the one to purchase from your business because they knew you when you had nothing and they were actually comfortable when you had nothing because it made them feel superior. I know that's very toxic, very negative, but there are some people who are like that. And that's why I say, thank God for the kindness of strangers. I don't think that if it was just dependent on my immediate circle, this YouTube channel wouldn't be going in the direction that it's going. My business that I have would not have been going in the direction that it was going if I only had to depend on family for my success. And sometimes it's not only jealousy and envy. Sometimes, people are so, they just have that, it's just you, it's just them. We're not worried about that. And honestly, when you're leveling up in your life, you don't really want just the people that are familiar with you because they don't really tend to give you the kind of respect and the kind of result that you're looking for. It's not really about respect as much as it is support. And when you're looking for somebody who barely clapped for you or was supportive of you at your worst to be supportive now that you're doing big things, that's just kind of naive on your part as a woman, in my opinion. I walked away 6 years ago, new people and one clapper is good enough for me. Absolutely. It doesn't take a whole, village, and I know people say, your village, your community. I say your tribe will find you because they will. On this channel, I believe that we're building a community of women here that are like-minded, and you build people and you have people around you who are like-minded. You have more opportunity to build real, genuine relationships. But if you're constantly trying to make toxic people fit into your new life, it's not going to work. I don't care how much you try to get deep and how you try to spiritualize it. They can change. Well, meet me when you change because I cannot deal with your toxicity. We just can't. There's certain things you don't have to tolerate once you realize your worth and realize that you cannot thrive around negative, toxic people. Especially that jealousy and envy. It's just, no, you can't. My own family. And yeah, I know some people are probably like, oh, you're trying to put people against their family. If you have a wonderful, supportive family who love you and encourage you and they're there for you, you are blessed. But the fact is, not all people have that kind of support system. When I speak about these things, I'm speaking to people who know how it is to have relatives, but not have family. That's the people I'm speaking to. The people who are closer to their friends and their acquaintances than their actual family. Some family members will not let you live down your past, even if it wasn't that crazy, even if it wasn't that sordid. Some people won't let you live down the fact that you were the shy girl, that you were the one that wasn't that much to look at. Some people will not let you live down the fact that you were more quiet, more reserved. And now they see you doing something great. Who needs to be reminded of how you used to be? That's the reason why I say sometimes it's not going to be your family that's your biggest supporter. And you really don't want your close family other than a parent, children, husband, people like that. Yeah, you want the support of them, but your auntie, cousin, Meemaw, all of them, sometimes it's best if they just support you from a distance, or you can talk to them about it on the phone or text them, but you don't need them in your immediate sphere of influence simply because they are not your biggest supporters. They're used to how you used to be. And when you're no longer that woman, sometimes they look at you different and not in a good way. They're used to you being the woman who barely has anything to say. Just let somebody say what they want to you, talk how they want, act how they want, treat you however. And when you break out of that and you're more in contact with your femininity, you're more spiritual, but you also have that assertiveness about yourself as a woman, people who are used to getting over on you, they're not going to like that. And a lot of times that's your family of origin. They're used to you being the quiet cousin. They're used to you being the cousin that's just like, oh, she didn't mean it that way, reasoning away people's toxicity. But now you're a woman who recognizes that, no, I'm worthy of respect. I'm worthy of love. I'm beautiful. I'm, whatever. You know your worth. And when you get that way, people who are used to mishandling you, they're not going to like it. That's just a fact, unfortunately. That doesn't mean they don't love you. It just means sometimes they have a toxic way of showing it. And when you're trying to do better in life, you don't have time for that. I know I don't. Oh, and they will tell you you've changed. Yeah, they say you've changed as if that's a negative. You changed. I sure did change. I'm no longer just mousy and quiet. I'm no longer not caring about how to look. I'm no longer being broke with you sitting here all day. I'm no longer just sitting here talking about people, but I'm actually on my level up, focusing on getting my business started. I put in the application for the job I want to do. I put in the application to go back to school. I'm moving into a different area. I just got my car. I just did my hair. I just had my baby. I just met my man. I just got married. I'm not the same person. Thank you for acknowledging that I have changed. Thank you. Some people say you changed like that's a negative. It's not always a negative, depending on the source and who it's coming from. You change is absolutely a compliment, depending on who it's coming from. And they name call when being in disagreements. A lot of people name call when you're in disagreements, but that reminded me of when a man is jealous of you. This made me think about a scene. My mind sometimes is all over. It reminded me of a scene from one of those shows. It was LaToya Luckett and her old husband, her ex-husband. They were in an argument about something in the house. And he brought up the fact that she was, so you're a well-known actress and all of this. You think this because you're an actress. As far as I know, she was talking about something pertaining to home life, and he brought up her work activity. Anytime a man throws in your accomplishments at you in the heat of an argument, he's a jealous man. He's jealous of you. Even when a woman does that. If you're saying, why did you not clean the house? Why didn't you pick up little Timmy from school? Oh, don't think just because you the CEO at your job that you the CEO here. Oh, just because you got authority there. Wait a minute. I'm talking about picking up little Timmy from school, and you're talking about my master's degree. This doesn't balance. Where did that come from? It came from his deep-seated resentment and his anger and his jealousy toward you. It came from the fact that he'd been holding that in. She'd been holding that in and waiting for a time to say it because they're a hater. Yeah, that resentment and that deep-seated jealousy and envy will come out in the most awkward ways. Oh, so you could say something. I'm just going to stay on this for a minute. You could say like, you hit my car, or no, why didn't you get the car cleaned? Or, you do things like this. Why didn't you call me back? You said you're going to call me. Well, you're used to people calling you right back because you're the boss and you give orders, but I'm not your worker. Wait a minute. I didn't say you were my assistant. I just said you said you were going to call me and you didn't call me back. This little slick, like, wait a minute, your envy, your jealousy, your hateration, it's coming through. You try to hide it, but it's showing up in how you're interacting with me now. I'm talking about Fruit Loop cereal, and you're talking about the fact that I can purchase caviar. I just said, did you get the Fruit Loops? Something as dumb as that. It's like the little stuff they say and they do. My goodness, people. Let me look at the comments. And that's why I say, in the very beginning, jealous people serve one purpose in your life, and that is to show you who you are. And oftentimes that is in a positive way, because they see a lot of great things about you that you might not even see about yourself, because they're looking and they're watching and they're resentful. And instead of just letting you be or supporting you or focusing on their own level up, they want to try some way, somehow, to humble you, to bring you down a size instead of working on themselves. And when women do that kind of thing, it's in the nature of a lot of catty, foolish women to do that kind of thing. But when a man does it, it just gives you the ick, because it's like, we're not even in the same league. Like, we're not in the same playing field. Like, you're masculine, I'm feminine. You shouldn't even be looking at me in that way. To be jealous, when a man is jealous of a woman, I'm not talking about, the only place that you might see that where it kind of sort of makes sense is in the workplace, because you're both have that common goal, which is money, status, position. But in general, like in families and relationships, when a man is jealous of a woman, that's weird. It's like the feminine complements the masculine. So anything that a woman is doing, if the man genuinely cares for the woman, it complements him. If she's a woman that is feminine and kind, and she's, with him and she loves him, or, she's supportive of him and she lets him do his thing, and she's quietly living in her feminine existence, not emasculating him, but she's accomplishing things. She's not throwing it in his face, but she's accomplishing things quietly, doing her thing, looking good, feeling good. Any man who is heavily in his masculine energy, he should love that. He has a woman who is confident, who knows who she is, and doing her thing, and doesn't need a whole lot of validation, even though she likes it, but she doesn't need all of that. He should love that. But you have a lot of men who look at women in regular life. I'm not talking about in business. I'm talking about in regular everyday life as their competition, which is extremely weird, especially with the uprising and the confusion that we have with a lot of sassy acting men. And I'm just going to say that. I don't want to get too heavy into that topic, but you got some men who don't even realize that you're not like a woman. You're not going to be the same as a woman. No matter how hard you try, we're not in the same league. And because you have some men who have that idea that they're in the same league with women, that's when you get that jealousy and envy. And I know for me, when I deal with a sassy man, a man who's giving me attitude, it makes me feel weird on the inside, because I'm like, you're not supposed to be acting this way toward me because you're a guy. Like, you're not supposed to have the same level of sass as me. Maybe I'm old school, but I'm just like, I don't understand that. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. A sassy man gives me the ick. A man that just has an attitude for no reason and wants to go back and forth with a woman just because, I can't stand it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I know exactly what you mean about the energy shift, because I feel it all the time. I think it's a way of dark, toxic, and draining energy vampires to steal and kill your vibe. It is a way for them to try to kill your vibe if you let them. Once again, only time you have to be around those people, maybe at your job and when you're at school. If you're in college or something, you might have to be surrounded by those people. But it's if you let them kill your vibe. You have to become so confident within yourself that you could be around people who are negative. You can kind of feel that heaviness and still do your own thing. I brought up the example of when my daughter was in her music class, and she said she was bopping around, singing the songs and all of that. And she looked over and saw this girl just mean mugging the mess out of her, just looking at her like, I said, what did you do? She said, I kept singing. I said, good. That's what you were supposed to do. Keep singing. What is she going to do? Just sit there and look at you and your happiness and still be bitter and miserable? She'll never say anything directly to you because normally they don't. But that's what you're supposed to do. Keep enjoying yourself. Don't let the toxic negative energy and the heaviness from a hater cause you to not enjoy yourself. I tell you, when I was like dancing and partying and doing that kind of stuff, which I didn't do a lot of that, but when I am the queen of like, I don't have to wait for somebody to get out there and dance. I will get out there and dance by myself. Like, I'm not going to be the one just sitting there looking at people, gritting on them, me mugging. And I'm definitely not going to worry about what you're saying about me. I'm going to go out there and dance and enjoy myself. I know how to entertain myself. And that's why I think a lot of people don't understand why women at work, when they're quiet and to themselves, it's because they know how to entertain themselves. They know how to fill the silence. They don't need to have interaction with people or choose to have interaction with people who like to gossip all the time because they're enjoying their own peace. For me, the quiet moments at work, that gives me the opportunity to plan my future. When I'm at work during those quiet times, instead of just talking to a whole bunch of people about nothing, not that you can't have conversations with people, nothing wrong with that. I have conversations with my coworkers. Sometimes we talk, but the bulk of my quiet time is spent. What is going to be my next YouTube video idea? I think I could talk about this. What is going to be my next book idea? How am I going to do my hair? Because I think I need to change it up a little bit. I need to go to TJ Maxx and get that sugar shaker because I'm tired of the sugar falling all over the cabinet. You know, when you're a feminine woman and you're focused on yourself, even if you're not highly in your femininity, which I think you should be, your focus is on things that are productive, things that are light energy, light-hearted, light-spirited. Whatever things are good, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of a good report, meditate on those things. When your mind is that way, you don't care if you're not talking to somebody or if they're talking about people. You don't want to be a part of that. For me, I even put the CBS app on my phone because, yes, I grew up with Victor Newman, Nikki Newman, Nicholas, and all of them. I grew up with Brooke Logan and all of them. And right now I'm looking at what Finn and Lee got going on. If you identify with what I'm talking about, then you are my tribe. But sometimes when I can't watch what Brooke and Ridge and all of them are doing, I have the app on my phone so that I can look and watch my stories on my phone while I'm doing what I'm doing. Make sure I say that to say we know how to fill the time. We entertain ourselves. Put your Netflix on there, watch a show, catch up on your shows. Do something, anything other than partaking in drama and foolishness. Sitting around gossiping, no, I have to see what's going on in Genoa City. That's what I got to see. Hopefully I can pick my kids up in time to get back to watch the rest of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's like feminine women, we know how to fill our time. You know, we're productive. We might work, take care of your family, take care of yourself. But the downtime is just that, the downtime. And we don't spend it entertaining toxic, negative, jealous, envious people. If you have a problem with me, if they have a problem with you, that's their problem. I have to see what I'm about to purchase on Amazon. I need to see if my kid need another book bag. I need to see if I got all my paperwork together for taxes. It's tax time. There's always something to think about positive other than worrying about a hater or jealous people. That's your tips and tricks on how to handle a jealous person. Focus on yourself. Focus on your level up. Focus on your entertainment. Focus on changing out your wardrobe. I've been thinking about what plants I can actually plant in the house during the, late winter, early spring months. My backyard looks crazy. My husband is about to get into it, but I want to start planting more things. I have all of these seeds that I brought from Lowe's and I didn't plant anything. I started a whole garden 2 years ago and let everything die. So now I'm trying to figure out what can I start that can take a lot of shade. I don't have a lot of sunlight in my backyard. In my front, I have a lot of sun. So, feminine women who are unbothered, we always have other things to think about. I want to write another book. I'm in the process of writing another book. I love writing books. I like creating products. I like creating cute things. I like purchasing cute things. I want to change up my backdrop here. It's always something to focus on. Texting me, good afternoon. Are you able to work tonight? Absolutely not. As I was saying, I'm not on call. Y'all know that I'm not on call. They know I'm not on call. I said, do not call me. No. Anyway, feminine women always have something to focus on. Any questions, comments? I asked in the comment section in the community tab what topics you would like me to talk about going into February. Your blessing to and for others with your important topics and combos. Oh, Jay, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. You know, when I started this channel, I really thought I was going to just kind of be more like just a only femininity and just kind of shallow, superficial kind of things. Femininity is not shallow, but I thought it was going to be very, very light. And then things just kind of shifted into talking about these heavier topics. I look at it like things I wish my mother would have told me, things I had to go through in order to realize this and go through that. And then I just realized, there are a lot of women that probably identify with the different things that I'm talking about. And then when I realized that a lot of women, they suffer in their mental health because they are being exposed to things and accepting things as normal that are not normal. That's really what made me start speaking up more and create this YouTube channel, because a lot of women, our femininity is a gift, but you have some women that are so suppressed in their femininity, in their personality, and the way they see themselves, all because they were around people who did not allow them to be that girly girl, be that quiet one, be that, just who she is, to not feel bad for being different as a woman, for not fitting a specific stereotype, for not being caught up in the drama and the mess. But because you might not have been a woman who was about, drama and issues, you were hated on. You were a woman that deals with jealousy and people who hate on you and people who, feel like they can disrespect you because you're a certain kind of way. And I used to feel that way a lot of times earlier on, until I realized I'm just as important as anybody else. You would think that would come as a given. No, unfortunately, it's not, especially when you are taught to be overly respectful and to be overly submissive. Women being submissive, nothing wrong with that. When you're taught to be submissive and respectful to the point that you are disrespecting yourself, that you are allowing people to treat you however they want to treat you, that's not okay. When you're accepting toxic behavior from people that's not normal, that's not okay. And when I woke up to that, it's like other women need to know this. I don't think they really knew this, and I realized this years and years and years ago, but I'm just like, you know what? I feel like I need to talk about these things. I talked to my daughter about them, not in grave detail like I talked to you all, but just that awareness. And then especially with different things that happen with Shanquella Robinson, and I don't want to ever appear that I'm using her name for some kind of attention. I'm saying her name because that really hit me deeply. When that happened to her in Mexico with her friends, that hit me deeply. That somebody could hate somebody and be jealous, so much so that they're willing to do what they did to another person over jealousy and envy. And the fact that she didn't recognize that she was around vultures, that is really what lit the fire in me to talk about this topic of envy and jealousy as much as I have been over the past few months. So that's really where the spark for this topic really happened, because I'm like, how, people like Selena and, Princess Diana, even though her demise wasn't because of jealousy, but her own husband was a hater. Selena, somebody, once again, very close to her, somebody in her circle of influence where she's doing great things, that she's supposed to be on her side, the very one who took her down. So those kind of interactions just sparked the fire in me. And these girls going on these girls' trips and telling, stories of they left me at the airport. I woke up in the morning and they was gone, stuff like that. It's like, are these people really your friends? And how do you not know that they're not your friends? Didn't you see any signs that they were a snake before you went out of town, went out of the state, went out of the country with them? How did you not see that? So those are the things that have been happening that really sparked the fire in me. Yeah, I just want women to understand that you can have lasting friendships and bonds with people that are genuine or at least cordial without putting yourself in harm's way. We have to be a little bit more wise and discerning as wisdom, and have wisdom as women. That's really what it is for me. Asked one time by that person I talked about earlier, she said, "How do you look the way you do at your age? Not like other women your age." I was thinking, what? I'm assuming that you look good for your age, or whatever they assume looking good for your age is supposed to be. That's a compliment. It's like, what do they expect you to look like? When you are unbothered, I can tell you this right now. When you get to a place where you are unbothered and you have peace on the inside, specifically the peace of God on the inside, you will look a little bit younger than what you are, or at least more rested. When I was worrying about what everybody thought about me, when I was worrying about having to make sure that this person is okay with me, I don't want to have these issues. I want to make sure they're all right. Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something to make them feel this way? When I got rid of all of that, I began to look and feel a lot more refreshed. I began to, and this is my opinion of myself, I began to feel a lot more light. I began to just feel like, whew, I can just breathe because I don't care. I don't care. I am no longer taking on responsibilities, that heavy masculine tension and energy, trying to take control of everything. I'm not surrounding myself with toxic people anymore just to say I have a lot of people around me. I'd rather have a couple people around me or be by myself for a season and be at peace. Not having toxic people around you will definitely have you be more at peace, be more at ease. Definitely. And it'll have you looking younger, have you looking better too. Yes, there are usually red flags, but I have to pay attention and not see it as normal behavior. Yeah, and AB, when you are used to being around women, a lot of us, we have been, like I said earlier on, conditioned to believe that people putting you down, calling you out your name, and all of that stuff is normal. A lot of these things these young girls do now, they call them their B. Like, you're my four-legged dog. B, the four-legged dog. Like, no, you're not calling me that. That's not me. I'm not saying you can't have little cute names, pet names for one another, all of that, Puddin', Pud, Moody, all that. I call my daughter little pet names, but never will I ever call her a derogatory name. Me and my girlfriend, we just tend to call each other by our nicknames or shorten our names. But somebody calling you ugly or calling you a four-legged dog or calling you something that's just so disgusting, that's not a sign of endearment. And many of us have been conditioned to believe that, okay, that's just your way. That's just her way. Well, have your way with somebody else, not with me. You know what I mean? I was the only girl and the youngest from my family of older brothers. So I've had those jealous people around me. Thank God for showing and saving, even was set up. It's crazy. Yeah, I'd rather be by myself for a season and be at peace and allow God to send the people around me that should be around me, instead of me surrounding myself with a bunch of known snakes and jealous people and haters and people that just want to disrupt my peace just to say I have a lot of people around me. No. It's like, even if that's your closest cousin, auntie, mom, whoever, like, it's a matter of respect and love. I'm not saying somebody has to tip their hat to you and treat you like the queen. I'm just saying they don't have to demean you and put you down. And some people think that's too much. When you actually want them to respect you as a person, they act like you're doing too much. When you want somebody to respect your boundaries, they act like you're doing too much. When people act like you having boundaries is doing too much, those are not the people that you need to be around. If you tell somebody, okay, I go to bed at 10 o'clock, please don't call me past 9 o'clock unless it's an emergency. And if it's an emergency, don't call me first, call 911, depending on who it is. Your children, your husband, the way I see it, when my family's outside the house, I'm always on. Like, that's why I look at my phone. I make sure everything is okay because my family's outside the house. If they need to get in contact with me, I need to be available. But once everybody I live with is in my home, at a certain point of the night, I turn my ringer off. I might turn my phone off completely because I don't need all the disruptive noise. I don't need that. And yes, I have a father, I have brothers, I have all of that. But let's be real. If people don't call you often just to shoot the breeze, when it's an emergency, don't call me. Don't let me be your first call. I will answer in the morning. Some people might take that as harsh, but if I'm not your first call in good times, then I don't expect to be called like that whenever. So the people who live in my house is the first priority for me. That's just a boundary of mine. Getting a little hungry. Have you purchased the book, How to Be a Feminine Woman, The Blueprints? Have you purchased the book, Girl on Girl Wars, Jealousy Amongst Women? Have you purchased How to Detox from Toxic People? Those books are in correlation with these videos. The one, How to Detox from Toxic People, I created that book before I created this channel. I suggest you get that. Hello, DW. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Yes, we have all things woman merch in my merch shop. We have a cute unbothered t-shirt. I just ordered some items to get for myself. Cute mugs, cute stickers, all different price points. Check it out. Represent the brand, represent the channel. As women, showing somebody you're unbothered, that's the only time you wear those letters across, unbothered. Minding your business is a skill. I think I created that. It says minding your business is a skill. I just create stuff that I think is cute and it sends a message in a feminine way. I just severed the ties with two females who I thought were my friends after almost 40 years of friendship. One of them I've known since 7th grade, and the other one I met on the job back in 1991. Oh, that's now see, and it's going to hurt. To me, I don't even know them personally, but to have a relationship that long and then have to sever ties for some reason, that's unfortunate. And, I don't know the details as to why you had to sever ties with them, but I'm hoping for reconciliation if possible, because that's a long friendship, 40 years of friendship. But sometimes it's like that. Can you tell me a little bit about what Girl on Girl Wars is about? So the book Jealousy, Girl on Girl Wars, Jealousy and Envy Amongst Women, that book is about different types of jealousy and envy and different types of settings and situations. So I have a chapter in there about colorism. I have a chapter in there about spiritual manipulation and jealousy, how people in the church. Yes, a lot of you asked me to speak about how women in church are jealous of you. Well, it's inside of that book. I have jealous people that you don't even know, jealousy in your family, jealous people at work, and a few other chapters too. So I break down different scenarios of jealousy and envy and how they show themselves in different ways. Yes, touch on colorism. And then there's a bonus chapter about jealousy of men toward women. So I definitely highly suggest you get that book because I go into a little bit more detail, if you can believe it. I go into more detail in a short read in that book. So how to be, not how to be a feminine woman, Girl on Girl Wars, Jealousy and Envy Amongst Women, with a bonus chapter with men jealousy toward women. Get that book. Yeah, and I'm not, look, when I write books, I'm not going to be like your overly humble YouTube person. I'm not going to say, I just did this out of the goodness of my heart. I'm not trying to push sales on you. I'm not trying to push sales on you. I created these books because I know they're going to benefit you, in addition to me wanting to sell my books that I created that I know will benefit you. You will never get me lying on this app, on this YouTube, saying I don't want to make sales. I am a feminine woman. I am a woman who is about not exhausting myself. I make money in ways that allow me to use my mind and not my body. I want to make money off of my books, but I'm not going to sell you trash. That's what I don't do. I offer you quality and things that I know are going to help you. So when you purchase books, purchase merchandise from me, it's because it's things that are genuinely going to benefit you. And if you see it as useful, it's worth your money. And I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not going to be like these YouTubers that say, oh, I don't want to sell you nothing. No, YouTube is what I do, and helping women is what I do. And because of the value, and this is a part of knowing your worth, when you know your worth and you know you offer value, you expect to be blessed for the things that you do. You might not do it for the sole purpose of money or whatever, but you know that's going to be a result. And when you do things that help other people, you're blessed in that way. So I expect it. And you should expect it when you do things that help other people. That's just the way it is. But what do you do if it's in-laws that are haters? In-laws that are haters. Oh my goodness. So I have in-laws. I am a married woman. And I say that the same rules apply to everybody as far as jealousy and envy. I already got the other one about femininity. Yes, how to be a feminine woman, the blueprint. I break down 8 key areas that you need to focus on when it comes to starting your femininity journey and just really focusing on being a feminine woman. Contrary to what a lot of people think, being a feminine woman is not always talking like you're a baby and nobody can barely hear you. You could have a deep, raspy, beautiful Anita Baker, Toni Braxton-esque kind of voice and still be a feminine woman. You can be very assertive and a woman that's very sure of herself and knows what she wants and knows what she desires, spiritual, grounded, and be a feminine woman. You can be in business and be a feminine woman. Femininity, as I have said many times before, it is not aesthetics only. The way you feel about yourself, the way you live, your self-worth and your value, that's going to be reflected in how you carry yourself as a woman. And when you are in your femininity, it's going to show up in how you dress and how you act and how you carry yourself. So if that is something of interest to you, how to be a feminine woman, the blueprint, also in the description box of this live. And it is also in the link in my bio of the YouTube channel. And also, we have a membership. Join the group membership, Femininity, the elite group. I would suggest you join that because I post a lot more videos there. And also, I'm going to start doing a lot of member-only chats. A lot of the things that I talk about and the things that I want to get into, I want them to be exclusive to our members so that we can weed out the riffraff. I do not want to be disrupted in any way with certain topics that I'm going to talk about going into the future. So I would love for you all to join the membership so that way I can keep it exclusive to our little community amongst like-minded people that I don't have to tussle back and forth with. So yes, this has been wonderful. Jealous people, they serve a purpose in your life, one major purpose, and that is to allow you to see the greatness in yourself. And if you're catching the replay, watch until the end because I dropped a whole lot of nuggets. I appreciate you all. I have to get ready to go and get my children from school. And yeah, I just love this community. I love this channel. I love what we're creating here. And I appreciate all of you. All right. I can tell you, like I said, this is the most positive comment section and subscribers and everything. Like I've never seen such a positive comment section. I get like 5 negative comments and like hundreds of positive comments. I appreciate you all. And yes, just be on the lookout for the next video. I might have a new video this afternoon, or I might have it by Friday. But in the meantime, there's lots of lovely content about femininity, jealousy, envy, all different topics, relationship videos. You know, I was doing those earlier on. So look through the vaults, look in some of those playlists. I have a whole lot of videos, a whole lot of content, all made with love, all made with, compassion for women and empathy for women. And I just want to see you all thrive. I want to see us all thrive. And I got to get ready to go get these kitties. Enjoy the rest of you all's day. Like and subscribe to the channel. We discuss femininity, womanhood, and I give you overall life advice. Take care. You're welcome, Teresa. Take care, everybody.